What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Janelle. Today I'm going to talk about travel mistakes that could possibly ruin your vacation as a solo female traveler. It happens to all of us. I want you to learn from my experience and don't make these mistakes. Let's hop right in. I have a list of 15 mistakes. If you guys enjoy this video, let me know down below in the comments and I'll make a part 2. Tip number 1 is going to be overpacking. You guys know that I have said before, you need to pack light. I'm talking about a backpack. You can just bring one suitcase, carry on only. It is going to be so much easier if you are traveling between cities. Nobody wants to haul around lots of baggage. It limits your mobility and you have to rely on other people to help you hoist your bags up on trains, going through cities, train stations, airports. I don't even remember the last time I had to deal with a delayed bag or lost luggage because I'm team carry-on. The next mistake I would say is traveling during high peak season. This is typically when tickets are going to be higher. There's going to be more crowds. It's much busier in the airports, at tourist attractions. It may not be as stress-free for you when you are traveling during high season. For example, people going to Paris during the Olympics. That is going to be wild. Paris is already the top tourist destination for travelers. I might even say solo travelers. And then on top of it, it's the Olympics. I don't want to be anywhere near it. However, if you are interested in traveling to Paris at any time in the future, go ahead and click on this link to learn more about the City of Love. Travel off-peak season, shoulder season, when kids are going back to school, it's not going to be as crowded, and that's going to end up being a better experience for you. The next mistake that people make, unfortunately, is traveling without insurance. I am specifically talking about medical travel insurance that requires evacuation. You want to be sure that you are covered in the event of an emergency. We all know that accidents happen overseas. You don't want to be caught in that type of situation. This is not the travel insurance that you can add on when you buy your flight. The one I'm going to recommend is Safety Wing. You can look in my description box below. Please, whatever you do, make sure you get travel insurance. It can include medical emergencies, trip delays, lost baggage. Some policies even cover electronic equipment. With your passport, you want to make sure that you have at least 6 months validity. Some of these countries are not going to let you enter as a US citizen if your passport is close to expiration. When you are traveling alone, make sure that you have a few copies of your passport, whether it's digital on your phone or just the paper copy. You can carry this with you once you enter the country, maybe secure your passport in your room where you are staying, and that way you have identification on you. Sometimes it's good to have a paper copy in the event that your phone's out, you can't access it, maybe its battery is dead, you didn't charge it. So always have a copy on you. And you can also send that copy of your passport to someone, friends and family at home, just as a backup. Let me know in the comments how you guys keep your valuables secure. Do you always travel with the passport on you, or do you keep a copy? For me, I always have a copy on me, whether it's my phone or paper, and then I leave the passport at my accommodation. I've lost my passport before, and it was not pretty, so I do not want to have that happen again. Now I'm going to talk about a few accommodation mistakes that I have seen travelers make. One is going to be on these solo travel group trips. Think about that for a second. How is that solo travel? You did not book the accommodation, the activities. Maybe you might have booked your own flight and went to the airport on your own, but you didn't do any of the planning. And then when you get there, you're sharing a room with, yes, this may be a fellow traveler with, similar interests, but is that truly solo travel? These solo travel groups really baffle me. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it, because you are traveling with a group for multiple days. It could be within a country or different countries. I know these trips have to make their money, and On top of that, it's going to cost way more than if you were going to solo travel yourself. That's not solo travel. A mistake that women make is not researching before traveling. I'm talking about entry exit requirements, airport reviews, looking at accommodation reviews for hotels, Airbnbs, hostels, transportation, even food and water safety. We have to do a much better job of doing our research as women. I'm going to recommend that you look up the Solo Female Safety Travel Index. It is a really great resource for you to use. It has many destinations around the world with like-minded women travelers who have shared their experiences, and they are able to sort whether you should travel there or not. Now, with these destinations, you need to keep in mind the reviewer. All right, a lot of them are not POCs, so I would keep that in mind. I do have a Black travel destination playlist if you are interested. Y'all gonna get these CTAs in this video. Okay, so with accommodation, you want to look for reviews. I would say at least 50, 100 reviews. You do not want to be staying at some place that is brand new and has 10 or less reviews. You don't know if they have their own staff, employees writing those reviews and just posting those pictures. I need real travelers giving me the scoop on a previous stay. Another mistake would be not staying in the city center. I've talked in previous videos that you want to be close to the tourist attractions, close to public transportation. If there is a metro, if you are coming in, like with Europe travel, for instance, I took the bus from Norway to Sweden, and it was very easy for me to do that. The hostel was in the city center. If it is far out in the cut, first of all, you're alone, so it's going to take you extra time to get there, and you are out in the boondocks, like you're not around civilization. I think it's safer for you to stay in the city center. The city center is usually going to have much more police presence, and it's well lit. And if you are looking for solitude, relaxation, and you want to stay out in the country, that is fine. Typically in those situations, you aren't moving around. Like, the accommodation is your destination. I'm talking about solo travel where you are going to major capital cities, popular tourist sites. If you are staying in a private room, a mistake would be to just leave your things on display. If you are in a rush, you're in a hurry to see all of the sites, maybe you're not unpacking, or if you do unpack, you're not putting things in the safe. You just want to be careful. You don't know who's coming in your room, especially in hotels, that they have keys. I'm not saying that maids are going to be going through your things. Hostels, that's different. You just always need to be alert because you are being watched, especially as a solo female traveler. I would recommend in a hostel that you bring a padlock. I have not typically done this myself. I am way more over trusting than I should be. While traveling, I've been to 45 countries. Thankfully, nothing has happened to me. In the hostel, I usually will just put the backpack under my bed, to the side. I'll take specifically what I need out for the day. I have like a crossbody purse or something, and then I would just put my bag in the locker and then just close the locker. But you want to take an extra step of precaution and have that deadbolt lock on it. When it comes to activities, a mistake that travelers make is over planning. Going to see all of the sites, they have to do all of the things, see all the activities, and they end up exhausted, stressed, and tired even more than when you were just doing your regular 9 to 5 during the week. It's vacation. The idea is for you, to rest and relax. Now, we know there are different types of travelers. There are others who have more energy, and they like being on the go from morning till dusk. I know for me, I like to build in days of relaxation where I'm doing nothing. I need to recharge my social battery. Being on your feet all day on those tours, or just even walking around a city, like my feet hurt. I want to sit and relax. Build in some downtime into your itinerary. The next mistake is not utilizing The online travel sites and apps. You can typically get discounts if it is going to be for one person. If you choose not to do them online, you can even connect with the local travel agencies and they could get you a cheaper deal as well. For online, I recommend Get Your Guide, Viator. You can use Airbnb Experiences. And if you are going to a city, you will see the travel agencies and they'll probably talk to you. They look for tourists all the time. And it is good to support the locals because what ends up happening, these travel companies, they are using locals, with the ones that I previously mentioned, but they're not getting the full percentage. So if you are interacting and doing your business directly with the locals, support their community and just book directly through them. The next tip, while you are out and about, it is very important for you to stay connected. I'm talking about electronics here. It is not good as a solo traveler to be moving around with no way to connect with people that you know at home, friends and family. This could end up in a dangerous situation where, your phone died, you don't have a power bank, you didn't check the international outlets, so you can't even charge your phone. You're relying on randoms that you don't know. You need to always have a power bank. You might even want to have an extra charger just in case. And you want to make sure that you are charging your phone throughout the day, right? And while we're on the topic, I would be very cautious of posting my whereabouts on social media. Now, that I'm on YouTube, I really like that I don't have to show it at all. You don't even have to have a social media presence. It could just be someone, who is just looking up locations. Like, these people are very crafty these days. You guys need to be careful. I would only post certain things, like I'm not showing you my location. I may do the city, maybe some highlights of activities that I did throughout the day. Most of the time, I post when I get back. For solo female travelers, we need to be very smart and aware and watch what we are putting of our trips online. Another mistake is not to socialize or connect with the locals. The locals are the ones who know the most. It is their city, their home, their country. And why not interact with them? When you are in a group, I'm thinking of these solo travel groups, you aren't going to have as much opportunity to interact organically with locals as if you were traveling alone, truly alone, where you meet them and, they may invite you to do a tour or, go out, see more sites, introduce you to their family. Like, there's so many missed opportunities when you are not traveling solo. And when you're in a group, typically that interaction might not occur. Not having an international phone plan. There's no data. You need to have a phone. And with your phone, I'm not going to only rely on Wi-Fi for WhatsApp. Okay. In Japan and, certain parts of Asia, they have portable Wi-Fi. That is really great. I heavily relied on that when I traveled throughout Japan. Some places do not have this. What you're going to want to do when you are moving around from city to city or within the city is to download the offline maps like Maps.me. That way you can still navigate without having to rely on Wi-Fi to use Google Maps or, whatever transportation app that you're using. You do not want to be alone by yourself in a foreign country. You don't know the language. You trying to get back to your hostel after a night of fun. Like, let's be smart, ladies. When you first are landing to your destination, you already want to have your transportation booked. All right. There are ways for you to prearrange your transportation to your accommodation. For me, I'm more flexible. I said in my previous video that I don't book, depending on the trip, where I'm going to stay until when I land. That can be alarming for, some first-time solo female travelers. So what I would say for you is, once you have secured your destination, I'm not going to say book the entire accommodation for the week or however many days you're going to be there, because like I said, you could meet some people, decide to go hang out with them or whatever, and then, you're just stuck. You can't go because you already booked your accommodation. I would say for sure, book your first night. You want to have your first night booked. You want to have your transportation for the first day of arrival to the country from the airport to your accommodation. And then after that, be flexible. With transportation, like I said before, you want to research. There are well-known travel services and apps that you can use to get around. Be very wary of these taxis or these taxi drivers who are going to give you a cheaper budget deal. For instance, I've done this in UAE, China. Once you get to the airport, they're calling your name and they'll be like, hey, where are you trying to go? I have a deal. Come back with me. And it's far away from where the Ubers are, from the the main taxis. And then you just see like this lot of cars. Like, it looks so sketch. I've done it before. It's not as bad as you think, but for a first-time traveler, I'm always looking for the cheapest deal, you guys. And I guess I'm more adventurous than others, but be careful in this, especially if you are arriving to a place late at night. You want to use well-known travel apps. Like Uber is going to get you around. Bolt is a good one. They have different names, for countries around the world. Learn basic phrases for transportation, moving around the airport. That way you can connect with the locals, speak a little bit. Again, I told you, we are being watched while we travel throughout these countries, and they can spot a tourist just like that. They definitely know what to expect from Americans. We have an air about us. It is what it is. Some countries are more accepting of this. Others are like, ugh. We can't wait till she gets out of here. But if you are learning the language and speaking those basic phrases to them, how much is this taxi? I need to make a deal before we get in the car, so you're not going to run up the meter. Things like that, so they're not going to take advantage of you. Walking is one mode of transportation that you can't really get away from. I'm going to advise that you bring a pair of comfortable shoes. All right. Walking around Europe on those cobblestone streets, man, especially if you have luggage because you weren't team carry-on, woo-wee, you don't want to turn your ankle. That's going to be some damage, and then your trip is ruined because you can't walk. That's not funny. Which comes to another mistake, not blending in. I told you they know how to look out for tourists. I'm not saying that you can't be stylish and show your fashion. It's best to blend in like the locals. Wear those comfortable shoes in the airport, walking around the city, especially Europe. Be prepared. Be careful if you are moving around solo from deserted areas, places that are not well lit, alleyways. You never know who is lurking in the shadows. I've had this happen to me before. I've had people follow me before. That is a very uncomfortable situation. You want to be walking where it is publicly lit, hopefully around the streets that are near your accommodation, and hopefully those places have access to police who would actually help you. I've seen those little pocket alarms that you can just press. It makes a loud, shrilling noise. Some of these people aren't fazed by this, y'all. Like, you got to be aware. When you're walking, I know some people like to have their AirPods in, your music is high up, but you can't really hear the street sounds around you. I like to be alert. All right. My head is on a swivel, even though I cannot hear what's behind me. Sometimes I might just do a quick glance. Another tip while you're walking is if you're connected on your phone and you're using maps, it's not offline. What I would recommend is that you keep it in your crossbody bag, turn it up, and then Siri can give you the directions while you're walking, rather than you just having the phone out. Okay, let me make a left up here. Now everybody's, seeing your phone. I know in certain places in Brazil, they say they will just snatch your phone from their motorcycle and you just out of the phone because you have your stuff on display. Like, be smart as you are walking. This does not apply for every country. I'm just telling you, you need to be cautious and aware if you're walking on foot. An activity can be meeting strangers for some fun on the dating apps. You guys meet up. It is thrilling to meet new men in foreign countries. This is for the passport girls. You need to be very careful. I'm not going to accept a drink from someone who is not the bartender. If you are at the table with somebody, you're on your date or whatever, and you get up to go to the bathroom, check in with your girls, let them know that you're okay. You come back and sit down. I'm not getting that drink. People have been known to they got drugged because they slipped in a little something. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, be smart about it. You need to know your limits and do not go overboard. It is very scary. It is very scary if something were to happen to you because you were under the influence, you're drunk or you were drugged and you were by yourself. Nobody knows where you are. You're out with some random man. Your friends, family don't know. Maybe you were having a good time, but then it turned sour. Now what? I think of the time when I was in Bahrain at this guy's house. I wake up, come to find out I was locked in. You heard me right. I was locked in, like he locked me in the house. I escaped, but that's another video. The point here is you need to be very careful when you are meeting up with strangers. This is not a love story. Be aware at all times. And I'm laughing here, but unfortunately, some women have not made it back home to the States because they were involved in some type of shady interaction from a dating app. So again, I'm not saying that all experiences are going to end like this. Obviously, I was able to get out of my situation, but you do want to be careful. Excessive alcohol can lead to some unfortunate situations. Watch who is giving you a drink, know your limits, and be very, very careful leaving your drink unattended. Have fun, be smart, and have a plan B. You need to have an exit strategy just in case the date does not end up as planned, okay? For food, a mistake would be not eating local. I know that a lot of us like to try American restaurants overseas because, the ingredients are so much better, fresher. A lot of people like to check out the KFC in Jamaica, but don't let that only be where you eat. I am definitely going to recommend that you try out the local cuisine. It is traditional, it's authentic, and what better way to experience a country or culture than by the food? Come on. For vegans and vegetarians, I'm going to recommend that you use Happy Cow. This app website is going to be able to give you many locations. You would be surprised how many restaurants there are for those that are plant-based. Check it out. I think another mistake, if you're a vegan, vegetarian, solo female traveler, is not traveling to major capitals. In my experience, I have found that the major capitals have the best variety. It's going to be a higher number of restaurants for you to try, where you're just not able to eat because you're veg, right? Go to the major capitals. If you are uncomfortable eating alone, a tip would be to just go sit at the bar. There are usually people that can talk to you, and you don't have to talk if you don't want to. That is easier than just sitting at some large table by yourself. Me, I like the large table because I'm setting up content and I like to act like I'm a food reviewer because I get better service. Watch out for pickpockets, scammers. If you have a crossbody bag, I'm not going to have it behind me because somebody could swipe it, right? Make sure it is visible, but you have control of it. It is connected to you in the front. I might even go a step further and say, don't use the crossbody bag. You can get a money belt, put that in your pants. You're probably going to be safer. A lot of people like to put their money in the girls. That is okay too. Again, you're being safe and aware, keeping your money on you. I hope that all of these mistakes and tips are going to help you in your future travels. Sharing our experiences and learning from them is going to be part of the journey. Solo travel does not have to be scary. The more that you do it, you're going to hopefully experience some positive things and you'll be excited to plan your next one. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to see you next week.